The Joker, Jack Hermansson, will remain in the middleweight rankings come Tuesday morning, defends his number 11 spot against the unranked but surging Joe Pyfer, getting it done over the course of 25 minutes in what ended up being the veteran expertise and experience paying off for the veteran Jack Hermansson. Let's talk about this fight, what went down, and what's going to happen next. The finishing prowess, the knockout power, the hype, the momentum of Joe Pyfer was not enough to get his first ranked victory in the UFC as he falls shy. He has his first loss in the UFC and his first loss on his record in general since August of 2020 when he lost on his first attempt on Dana White Contender Series. And that is because Jack Hermansson defended his spot in the rankings. He proved that you've got to really earn your spot in the 185-pound ranks. Jack the Joker Hermansson has been at the top of this game in a ranked fighter for quite some time now, has climbed as high as around that number 5, number 6 spot in this division. He is a legitimate talent that, again, as I said Friday, isn't great in one particular area, but is good and well-rounded in all aspects of his game. For example, I thought his best path to victory in this fight was to press forward, which he did do very well, but then utilize his grappling and clinch work to have more success. However, he found success in the striking department in this fight, and that is what got him the victory. This fight never took place on the mat. It was a stand-up fight for 25 minutes. Joe Pyfer looked good in round 1, looked solid in round 2, but toward the end you could feel the tide begin to turn. Jack Hermansson began to settle in, began to understand the attacks that Joe Pyfer was throwing at him, got his timing down, implemented a very, very strong calf kick that remained prominent throughout the remainder of rounds 3, 4, and 5. And behind that calf kick, Hermansson was able to put together a game plan, or should I say adjust his game plan like the veteran that he is. He outlasted Joe Pyfer. He was the fresher fighter for those latter 15 minutes and those 10 minutes of the championship rounds 4 and 5. I don't think this was some performance where you can just be like, oh, Joe Pyfer, he got shut up, he got shut out, he'll never be able to get into the rankings. I didn't see it that way. It was a learning experience for someone at 27 years old, getting their biggest jump up in competition by far. He did not fight a bad fight. He stayed in the fight more competitively than I thought he would. Like, compared to how he looked at the end of round 2, in round 3, rounds 4 and 5, he did hang around. He did land some shots here and there. He did not utterly gas himself out where he had nothing left to offer. And so for that, I do credit him. I think he still has a relatively bright future ahead of him. You pair that with the story that is behind him, the love that Dana White shows him allows more eyes to be on a Joe Pyfer fight. I think he'll get another chance here in the not-so-long future to get his spot in the middleweight rankings, but it just wasn't now. His time wasn't now, and that is because Jack Hermansson, at the ripe age of 35, is still very much in the mix of that back half of the rankings, and after that performance last night, looked like a top 10 middleweight, in my opinion. You look at just how well-rounded he is, the way that he was able to adjust on the fly, implement new strategies to pull ahead in this fight. He has climbed high, and he's lost against someone that's been a champion in Sean Strickland. He's lost to Roman Dolidze, who we just saw compete last week. Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier. 3 of those 4 names have either challenged for a title or been a champion in this middleweight division. So maybe that gives us a good idea of, yes, Jack Hermansson is very much still a threat. He can beat guys on the outside looking in. He can beat guys ranked 10 through 15, even some higher than number 10. But when he gets to that number 4, number 3, the top guys in the division, is that where he caps out? Is that where we may never see him take that next step and earn himself a title shot? I think after last night, there's still very much room for him to get a crack into those rankings with 1 or 2 more wins to earn a spot amongst the top 5 contenders. I think he can do that. I think he had a proper call out in the aftermath of this fight saying he wanted to fight Nassourdine Imavov. I'm all for it. They're on the same timeline. Imavov just fought last week. He was ranked number 11, moved into the number 8 spot after beating Dolidze over the course of a 25-minute decision. Jack Hermansson had a better performance, and really this was the best of the 3 main event stretch we had at middleweight, in my opinion. I thought this was a very, very solid fight from start to finish with not a lot of dull moments. There wasn't any lackluster action. They kind of just pressed a very solid pace from bell to bell. And so you pair that victory with the performance, him getting back on track, winning 2 of his last 3 fights, now looking to make it a win streak, and I think the next step is number 8 ranked Imavov. And should Jack get a victory there in what I'm sure will be an Apex Fight Night main event, unfortunately we're staying in the Apex quite a lot still in 2024, I think after that he could be 1 win away. Maybe he fights a top 5 guy after that. Should he win there, maybe he gets a crack. I said this on Friday that the division, the belt is getting passed around like a hot potato right now. We've had 4 champions in the last 14 months. We don't really know the title picture right now. Maybe we get Izzy versus Dricus. I don't really know. Maybe we get a rematch between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. We have Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa fighting at UFC 298 this upcoming weekend, which is another huge fight in the middleweight division. It'll be 4 straight events where we see top 15 fighters squaring off. I'll kind of try to have some stats prepared for that come Friday. The amount of ranked fighters we're seeing in a 4-week period is pretty astonishing and great for the division. A division that has seemed stale the past few years seems to be on course to have a very, very solid year, with contenders earning their spots, with veterans getting wins, with prospects getting wins. It's a good mixture of everything at 185 pounds. And the most recent victor is Jack the Joker Hermansson. So let me know in the comments, did Joe Pyfer bite off more than he can chew, or was it just a fantastic performance and strategic game planning on the fly by the veteran Jack Hermansson? I thought it was more so the latter. I think there's still a bright future for Pyfer, but the night belonged to the number 11 Joker, who holds his spot in the rankings, who look to fight ahead and get a shot into the top 5 of this division at some point later on in the year. Give me all your thoughts on that fight and all of the other great action from the remainder of UFC Vegas 86 in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss recaps like this, my thoughts and opinions on all the biggest results from every single week, every big mixed martial arts card, alongside with my thoughts on MMA news, fight announcements, and everything in between. Hopefully we're getting some more MMA news and fight announcements, or else it's all just going to be fight previews and recaps. But nevertheless, the fight game rolls on, the streak of events rolls on, straight into UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria, and a fantastic rest of the card as well. A card that's getting slept on, probably because of how stacked 299 and 300 are. But this is a great one in Anaheim, California. So we'll be back later on this week to preview all of that and more. Have a great week, and I'll see you then.